Hi everybody, hey, it's April 14th, 2013. Just a quick update. Of course, I always say that, but there really isn't much going on right now. Things are pretty much at a homeostasis, everything's kind of, balancing right now. But I did want to point out this disagreement between the White House and the Pentagon. And a lot of you aren't going to want to hear this, but back during the Iraq War, which of course is still going on actually, and Afghanistan and all that, there was intelligence that came to the White House that told the White House, and of course it was Bush at the time. Again, it doesn't matter who's in there, they always do the same thing because they're the front men for the big guys up on top, the international banksters who decide really what to do. But at any rate, the White House was getting intelligence information that didn't match up to their policy, what they wanted to happen. So you may know this by now. What they did was they took the intelligence and they massaged it so that it would support their policy, okay, rather than, the intelligence being used to form policy. You see what I'm saying? They had already decided they wanted to go to war with Iraq. All of this came out that they had decided this even before 9/11, all right, in 2001. The PNAC report, all of that stuff. Okay, so this was all in the works long before. General Wesley Clark, a four-star general who was the NATO commander at one time, gave an interview, and you can find it on the internet, where he said that he actually got a paper that told them what countries they were going to go after, and no reason. It wasn't for defense purposes. It was just what they were going to do. And of course, Iraq, Libya, Iran, all of those were on there, Syria. So this is a battle plan that was made up not because these people were any threat to the United States, and no clear and present danger. These are wars of aggression, okay? Anyway, I always diverge trying to explain things. My point is this, that the White House has its own intelligence people that massage things, and then they say, our intelligence tells us. Well, that's them telling themselves, okay? And then giving it out as if that's somehow independent intelligence information, and it's not. So this thing between Kerry and the White House is really key right now, I think. Or Kerry as part of the White House and the Pentagon. The Pentagon has been saying, and again, I'm not sure about any of this, all right? But this argument between these two parts of our government, which are both in the executive branch, there's something wrong here. You have the White House through the State Department saying, well, no, they don't have a capability to fire nukes on missiles. And then you have the Pentagon saying, oh, yes, they do. Now, I would really like to think that this is somehow the fog of war to disturb the enemy. But, when you show a house divided, what it means is that, you're not sure of yourself. Do you know what I mean? In a football game, if the quarterback gets out there and he says, I want you to do this, but I want you guys to do this other play. You can't do two plays at the same time. That's a bad analogy, but I think you get the point. What's going on here? Well, a long time ago, several videos back, I said that there were indications that there were seams in the government that were starting to split. And I think that's part of what we're seeing here. Is it because Obama doesn't like the military-industrial complex? That's kind of how it's explained in the alternative media, or even in the main media, that the military-industrial complex is set at odds with Obama. But all these guys work for the same people, okay? You might have small groups in the Pentagon that are at odds with Obama, but not the guys at the top. So, or against the international bankers. Remember, they're all puppets of the same puppeteer master. So, what do I think's going on here? You know what? If you can confuse the American people so that they don't know what ends up and what ends down, they won't know what to do or say or where to place their loyalties or their trust. What does that do to them? It neuters them. It makes it so that they can't. Not that they would make a decision anyway, because the American people are asleep by and large, but this just guarantees it more. So I'm watching this pretty closely. Again, this whole thing with North Korea, as far as the United States is using it, is a diversion against all of the other things that are happening, the assaults on the Second Amendment, going after vets, the financial collapse, all these things that are going on here, the violation of the Constitution, all that, because you get people looking at a war and they forget about that. It's kind of a binding thing, But at the same time, as I've said, and I will continue to say, this thing with North Korea is serious because it can spin out of control. The meetings at the Pentagon by that general back in, and I forget his name right now, I apologize, back in December on, right after that whole thing came out about, you need a protracted war with the United States gun owners, and China said that, and then these secret meetings of North Korea with the Pentagon. You play with fire, and you can get burned, okay? I don't like, Kissinger or Cheney, but they're saying, oh, we're in deep doo-doo here in Korea. So, I would just be really, really cautious on this thing between Kerry and the Pentagon. I think that signals something more sinister than maybe we're willing to look at. At the very bottom line, it's confusing the rest of us, okay? So that's, like I said, the propaganda always seems to be pointed at the American people. I had a guy write in, I used that whole thing on the DEF-CON warning system. I had a guy write in, and he quoted what they say on the DEF-CON warning system. It's very true. It doesn't come from the military, okay? But that's kind of the starting point. All right. From there, you go and you check other sources, and I mention that when I make my comment on there. You don't ever rely on just one source, okay? You just don't do that. But that's the starting point. Why do I bring the DEF-CON thing up? Because the government hasn't told you that, because they say it's secret, right? They're not telling you to prepare, just like they didn't tell you to do anything when Fukushima blew. And really, people should have been having TheraSafe at that time, and at least taking increased amounts of iodine, at the very least. So the government, it likes to keep you in the dark, likes to keep you confused, divided. The American people are just divided in every which way possible. Just remember this, the bottom line is they want war. All these people in the government want war, okay? In the Pentagon, in the White House, the legislators, all those guys, to cover their tracks and to steal your money and the lives of your loved ones, okay? You just keep that on the forefront. You are what are important. You are America, not them. They are supposed to derive their powers from the governed. And what we've done as a people is gone to sleep, and that's why they're getting away with this stuff. There's some things on the internet about that, about where Obama's, past is, in actuality, who his people were that trained him and things like that. But that doesn't even matter. Just look at their fruits. And if their fruits are in violation of the Constitution, if they don't hold you as that they are your servants, then there is something really wrong, okay? All right, well, I've gone on too long. I'll probably have another one of these a little bit later. Today is Sunday. It's a nice day, a little cool. I should probably take a little jaunt somewhere, and maybe I'll have